Hey, Inange here. Welcome to Questioning Thoughts. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and comment if you feel so inclined. Okay, today I want to talk about a week in a brave new world. And I'm going to get right into it. So, about 18 months ago, at the beginning of this COVID crisis, when the media was saying that we'll never go back to normal and this is our new normal, things will never be the same again, the world will never be the same again. And when Facebook was a much more interesting place to be, when there still was free thought and debate and back and forth, and everybody was throwing in their opinion, and it was a very exciting place to be, I must say. A woman made a post and she was very much for everything that was happening. And she gloriously said at the end, "We're in a brave new world." And she capitalized A, B, and W, or no, she capitalized B, N, and W. And she ended her post as if it was something good, right? Like she was happy. Finally, we're here. We've arrived. The brave new world. And I was like, who is this woman? She doesn't know anything. Like, who says that? So, anyway, I have the book. The first time I read it was in high school. It was required reading along with George Orwell's 1984. And so I got a picture of the scariest looking book cover of A Brave New World. And in the comments section, I put that picture and I wrote a synopsis of it. And then I made my own post with the same picture and I, talked about it a little bit more in depth with the synopsis. That was 18 months ago. And I said all of these unintended or maybe even intended consequences of these lockdowns, taking draconian measures, totalitarianism, was going to cause tremendous social ills, economic disruptions. Um, these measures were going to bankrupt small businesses, we're going to tear families, communities, friendships apart. I mean, everything. Suicide rates were going to go up, homicide rates were going to go up, domestic violence was going to go up, people were going to lose jobs, incomes. In fact, I was saying that these measures, these totalitarian measures, and mandating that we live in a certain way was guaranteed going to destroy many people's immune systems. And that down the line, within a year to 2 years, um, forcing certain shots into people that were experimental was actually going to create new variants, new, more deadly variants. And besides, people's immune systems were going to be shot from social isolation, from not getting sunlight, from not being exposed to pathogens, for the, on and on and on. But that's for another video. Anyway, so like 18 months ago, Brave New World comes up, this woman, because this woman makes a statement. I comment on her post, I make my own post, and then I watch a few videos. Like there is, Spark Notes, for example, has a really good video explanation on A Brave New World. And so for 18 months, it's just come up pretty regularly for me. And I've watched lectures, I've watched podcasts and talks, I've revisited the book. But a week ago, I'm about to go to bed, and on my YouTube feed is Aldous Huxley narrating A Brave New World in 1956. And this is the era where they had radio plays or radio hours. So for 2 nights in a row, before I go to sleep, I listen to Brave New World. Now, the third day, day number 3, I wake up and, I'm going about my morning. And then I open my Facebook Messenger and I'm on a group and somebody had posted a quote by Aldous Huxley. I'm like, well, that's really interesting. And then that evening, I'm taking a walk with my friend Janet, and she goes, Inonge, sometimes I wonder, do you think we're living in a brave new world? Comes up again. So that's 3 days in a row. And then the fourth day, it comes up on my feed, and I cannot find the podcast, but I was listening to somebody's podcast, and he was talking to somebody else about a brave new world. And then they talked about how Peacock, that app, has a series, Brave New World. I'm like, might as well watch the series, right? So for the next 4 days, when I have time, I watch the series, and I just finished it. And so some of the takeaways: we are indeed living in a brave new world, 100%. The same things and mechanisms are happening. They kind of look different. So in the brave new world, right, in this fictional world, people take this drug called soma. And they're these little, like, translucent little capsule balls, or they kind of look like the fish oil capsules, but they're round and they have different colors. So if you're feeling jealous, you take a certain color. If you're feeling despondent, another color. If you feel like you're going to fly into a rage, another color. If you feel depressed, another color. And these pills make people not only feel better, but feel very good. And so there's this totalitarian system that they live under. And it has a central control. It's a technocracy. And everybody is monitored. And I'm not going to go too much into the tech, but basically, in this modern iteration, this show of a brave new world, the tech actually exists right now. Like using ocular implants. Okay. But in a brave new world, Indra is the maker, is the creator of this world that everybody is living in. And there's a strata to society. So the alphas are at the very top, they're the elites. They don't believe that the very bottom ones, the gammas, even have human emotions, right? Does that sound familiar, right? And they think that it's their duty to control everybody. And the betas are under the alphas, and the betas are like they work in the hatchery creating new human beings, because in a brave new world, any natural human process and any natural human feelings are considered savage, dirty, reprehensible, gross. So there's no natural birth anymore. There are no mothers and fathers. There are no natural family units. So there's so many parallels. It's quite amazing. So there's this soma, that they're the scenes. I mean, it's a constant. You hear this click. They have these little vials, and they have the soma, and then anytime somebody feels a strong emotion, click. So at certain points, everybody's doing that simultaneously, because the same things make everybody uncomfortable. The alphas who rule. Okay, so to create these different social classes, it starts with the genetic engineering of the people, in the lab or in the hatchery. But that isn't enough. From birth all the way through childhood and adulthood, they're still conditioned to be repelled by some things and attracted to other things. But this is a testament of the human spirit. Like this, I don't know if anybody else got this lesson from A Brave New World. And this is what I got, is that no matter what society tells me that I am or that I am not, I get to choose who I am and who I'm not, because my spirit is infinite. My soul is infinite. And that's the triumph of the human spirit, because it doesn't matter how controlling the system is that we live under. We human beings have a spirit that is infinite, that travels, that is curious, that is, I don't know, creative. What can I say? I mean, that's what I took from it, that humanity triumphs anyway. So, so in A Brave New World, there are these slogans that each class lives by. And what was really uncomfortable for me watching the show, and then like, this is this is my life, this is a show, this is my life, this is the book, this is my life, this is the story. The fictional story is actually my life right now. We have a way in our society of tamping down those strong emotions, especially when we're feeling lonely and disconnected. The socially acceptable thing that we do, that everybody does at every age, is we pull up our smartphones, right? We're in the company of other people and we have our smartphones because we feel uncomfortable and we want to escape, and we know that place to go to that guaranteed will give us those hits of dopamine. So in our lives, it's the smartphones. In Brave New World, it's the Soma, right? Because like in Brave New World, people are hatched and they're made in the lab, and there are no mummies and daddies, and because we are, you know, souls in these human bodies for a while, and the soul wants to travel. The soul is wind, right? What does wind do? There are no boundaries for wind. Wind travels. So because that is our nature, that is far beyond our bodies, you know, governments, totalitarian governments, do everything in their power to control us. They use propaganda. So in Brave New World, there are these slogans that they use to remind themselves who they are and who those people are and what they are, right? The fear of abandonment is used against people. People are conditioned into holding, what's the word? Into controlling each other through fear, right? So the fear of abandonment, the fear of ridicule, the fear of being mocked, the fear of being on the outs is a means of social control. So in A Brave New World, and increasingly in our world, total strangers, friends, family members, police us, right? And yeah, so that's where we are. Since the dawn of civilization, even since the ancient days, whenever there is a society that has a lot of wealth and a lot of resources, there is this like main social control. It's the ruling elites. It's the king and his family, or it's the prime minister and, you know, his closest friends. It's the cabinet. It's the parliament. It's Congress. You name it, right? It's the chief and his chieftains, right? And they use myth, story, creation myths. They use tactics. They use slogans. They use words, colors, sounds, song to not only give the culture a sense of identity and maintain it, but also to control culture. And there is no control without fear. There's no control without fear, right? So we're living in the new world order right now. And we're all bowing down to one crown, the corona. Now, in our new world order, our lives revolve around corona, the way in A Brave New World, their lives revolved around Soma. You know, Soma, end all be all. In our day right now, COVID, corona, the crown, is our end all be all. We organize everything, the way we work, the way we play, the way we learn, the way we, I don't know, everything that we do, shop, cook, especially interact with each other. I'm not saying that this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just stating what it is. I really think it's important for us to do our best to get away from making too harsh value judgments or making everything a value judgment, because when we do that, of course, that brings the fear up. And then when the fear is up, the learning is down, or it's basically impossible. So I think it's important for us to, look at these, really examine these books like Brave New World and, um, 1984, right? And compare those realities with our own. And I really think that our world is like a mashup between Brave New World and 1984, because 1984, it's like degradation and violence and fear, violence, and like control. But then at the same time, there is this, we are encouraged to just seek pleasure at any cost. And there's this conversation in society now about getting rid of the nuclear family and, not, we've developed this disdain and this disgust and even a revulsion for human biology and what our bodies do naturally, and we're afraid of death, and we would rather destroy young lives and potential lives and lives in the present to stay the death of people who there's nothing that we can do, because we're all going to die at some point. Every single one of us, we're all going to die. But this fear of death and the conversation around death is what makes us super compliant, like we would rather live as slaves than think for the moment that we might be responsible for somebody else's death. So in A Brave New World, there is this, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what the name is. It's like the alphas, the very top people, are responsible for keeping, I think they call it the social body, or I don't remember. But anyway, keeping everybody in harmony. So they're these individual people with their individual minds, but everybody has a place, and they're supposed to be happy, happy, happy in their place, and everything is just supposed to work like this glorious machine. And there's no individuality. Like, individuality is disgusting, right? And that's where we are right now in society. Censorship, rewriting people's stories, misrepresenting people, and it's all for the sake of keeping everybody in line, whatever it's going to take. Even if it kills people, you got to keep people in line. So yeah, after watching the show, I'm looking, these are things that I've known, and I know they're things that you know, but it's different when things that we know are brought to our consciousness. Then we can do something about it. I'm more committed than ever to having real, true, authentic relationships with people, real, authentic conversations. I would rather, I don't know, I just feel like I'd rather die than live as a slave or as a controlled person. Because as all totalitarian states do, they do what they do. They promise you the moon and back. They promise you utopia. Oh, just, sit pretty. We're going to take care of you and provide all of your needs, and this wonderful vision of a life of leisure and pleasure. But that never, ever gives us happiness or joy or the feeling of satisfaction or accomplishment. And in the show, there are these scenes of like orgies. I think it's the alphas get to go to orgies and copulate with the betas, and the betas are genetically engineered to be hot, 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 And I was thinking, gosh, like if I lived in that society, I would probably kill myself. Or I would just be totally addicted to soma. Because you go, dance to music. The music has no words in a Brave New World because words make people think. So it's just music and it gets you in your groin with a lot of bass and all of that. And then people wind the night out with an orgy. But that's not how we're built. That makes, you know, sex is such an intensely personal thing. And then to be that close to not just one, but several people, and then to go home and know that they don't give a damn about you and you don't give a damn about them, you know. So yeah, I was thinking a lot about human psychology as well, because like, first of all, these people are not grown in their mommy's bellies, right? So these vasopressin, oxytocin, these hormones, these bonding hormones, like where do they get them? In a Brave New World, do they manufacture these fake, you know, bonding hormones in people? And then the way that they're conditioned as babies and toddlers and little kids, the conditioning is like, you know, Pavlovian, and there's a lot of punishment in the conditioning. And yeah, it's really fascinating. A lot to think about. Whoever, if you're still listening to me, thank you for hanging in here with me. I recommend reading the book, keeping the book, because who knows, this book might be banned in the next few months. There might be some book burnings, you know. We need to look at your bookcase, ma'am. And then all of those good books that make us think, they might be confiscated for all I know. I mean, that's just how crazy and insane things have gotten now. But yeah, have the book, read it, think about it, talk, listen, learn. You know, we're free. We have free will. These controllers, these people, when you really drill down and you follow the money, you know, it's, what is it, Matthew 7:16? I don't know. Anyway, the ye shall know them by their fruits, right? Um, there are people who are benefiting off of our suffering, and they're benefiting off of keeping us in a state of constant fear and control. And that's slavery. And one last thing about slavery, you know, when I look at it, slavery didn't have to last. I'm just talking about in the United States. It didn't have to last as long as it did. I say that for every slave who kept trying to escape, there were at least 20 who did everything in their power to stop them. And that's why slavery lasted so long. It didn't last long because the slaves were stupid or ignorant or didn't know what was what. It didn't last that long because, you know, the enslavers had more firepower. That's not why it lasted so long. It really lasted as long as it did because there were people who didn't want their loved ones to escape slavery for a myriad of reasons. And the same holds true today. And, you know, I could be locked up in a cell, but I'll always be free. No matter what. You can enslave me physically. So what? My body's going to die anyway, and so is yours. But spiritually, my soul is free. I want that for everyone. And if, while our bodies are still free, and our souls and our minds and our intellects are free, we have the capacity to create a true world where we are friends with our neighbors and friends with each other. We work on the local level. We connect internationally, but there is no one world control, you know. these alphas in a brave new world, just like the alphas in this world we live in right now, they think that most of us don't have the intellect. They really believe that we don't have the intellect to know what's good for us and what's not good for us. I mean, think about it. You know, they literally think we're stupid. And, you know, they can think they're stupid that we're stupid all they want to. But the difference is how we think about ourselves. Are we smart? Of course we are. Can we use our smarts? Anytime we want. Thank you for hanging in with me. Till next time, bye.